All right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share how my reading has been going, including what I've finished, what I've started, and anything interesting about books I'm carrying over week to week. This week, as always, I have a little bit of everything, and it has been a bit of a strange week, but I have managed to get some reading in, not as much as normal, and so that's a bit, I don't know. So I actually do not know the adjective to throw in there to describe how I feel about it. I just know that it's the truth, that I haven't been reading as much. And it is also a bit strange because we had the new month start with February, so happy February. And as such, usually on the first of the month or shortly thereafter, I do a list of like the titles that I'm currently reading and how many pages are outstanding and like what the genre is and yada, yada, yada. I've been keeping that for years in my spreadsheet. I look back and I have it at least as far back as 2019. I don't do it every month, but, mostly I do. And my goal used to be, way back, it used to be to finish half the titles I'm currently reading every month. Wow, I wish I could. But back then I used to have more like 8 or 10 titles, and like at some point it really got up to 20 and then more, and now it's been pretty consistently about 30. That's what I started the year with, and I did do a video about all of the books I'm currently reading as of January 1st. I will pop it up in the cards if you would like to check it out, and thank you to everyone who has watched it. So I got to see how many I had finished so far, which is 5, and that actually feels pretty good because that's like one a week and then an extra, but I did have started a lot of new stuff, and a fair amount of it is like stuff that I will finish within the next week or two, stuff that only has like 80 pages or less or something. But then there are a lot of titles that I haven't finished, including all 5 of my new starts, because I'm doing this new weekly TBR of picking one title to finish, one title to start, and three titles to carry on. Now, I can't remember if I finished all of the things to finish. I think so. This week is still ongoing. My reading week is Sunday to Saturday, and I will finish the title I plan on finishing because there is a live show next Tuesday, and I'm not worried about that. I actually really will finish that. But the 5 new starts, I didn't finish any of them, and I'm like, oh, and some of them I just read for the 1 week and put them aside, and I'm like, hey now, that's not how I thought things would go. Technically, according to my rules, I can do that, but why am I doing that? So anyway, it's one of those things that it's like, I think maybe it just says that I've transitioned more to a weekly TBR system as opposed to a monthly TBR system, but I'm such a creature of habit that I still carry forward my habits from when I was more of a monthly TBR person. So, but because I have the information for years and years and years, I'm unlikely to let go of having it, even though I've created other systems. And I'm like, way too much planning. Maybe that's why I'm not reading. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm not, where was I going with that? Oh wow, I totally lost my train of thought there. Not a clue. I haven't finished 5 new starts I haven't finished. We're in the 5th week of the month. But I did finish 5 titles from January. So maybe that means we're fine. That actually was kind of the plan, to be fine. But I'm just surprised that the 5 new starts, some of them I haven't given a lot of attention to. Some I have, but some I haven't. So I don't know. Still lots of learning and adjusting. But let's get to the finishes, because I did finish some stuff. So first up we have Usagi Yojimbo, The Mother of Mountains. This is volume 21. I started reading this series back, I think in 2019, as for my graphic novel, A to Z graphic novel and comics challenge, and for Usagi Yojimbo. So this is by Stan Sakai. It is a historical action type of story. Usagi is a rabbit, and all of the characters are animals, and there's lots of action and, you know, hijinks, and but it's also quite fun, and I really love the art style. Yeah, so and this volume in particular I really enjoyed. I think it's going to be one of my favorites. And I do think the volumes, I think they go to 30. I think the series goes to 30, and then I think it continues, but maybe on a different strain or a different idea or iteration or something. I'm not sure. I'm just going to see how things go. I don't want to look too much into it because it could, you know, be spoilers if I look into why or how it changes at some point. And I have been reading it for many years. I did pick it up and then last year and start more consistently reading it. So I think I can do it this year. So this is, as I said, this is volume 21. I already have 22 out from the library, and I have been trying to do a bit more pick and stick idea with series this year, and so far that's been working out. So I'm looking forward to seeing the adventure and hijinks in volume 22. I'm also continuing on with the Decagon House Murders. This is a manga series centered on a group of friends or a group of people who are part of a mystery club. They all have handles that are mystery title related, like usually authors, I think. There's Poe and Christie, or they call her Agatha, and LeFou, the person who wrote Carmilla, I didn't realize is sort of considered like a mystery thriller writer. Learn something new every day. So that wasn't today. That was some other day. So today's still, the jury's still out on today. That's not a good way to phrase it. So I'm sure something will come up. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm enjoying this. Again, I'm trying to sort of pick and stick with series a little bit more. And this one, I think, is complete at 5 volumes. So and because it's a bit more mystery based, I'm sticking with it because that's better for me in terms of remembering the plot and the characters. I am already into volume 3, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes. So that's that. And then in terms of stuff that I started, one of the works I started was Miss Julie by Strindberg. This is a play. Last year, I don't know if I ended up sharing this, maybe in the postscript tag that I posted last week or this week, but last year I did end up finishing the works of Ibsen, or the plays of Ibsen. So I'm super, super happy about that achievement. And there were lots of plays that I really loved. There were a couple that I wasn't a fan of. Master Builder and Peer Gynt were like, not so much, but Wild Duck, Ghosts, I think the Vikings at Headland, I loved. And there's one that I can't, it's like St. John's Eve. That was actually the last one I read because I skipped it because I couldn't find it, and then I found it. Anyway, but because I finished the works of Ibsen, I realized I don't know where to go in terms of reading plays. So this year, I think what I'm going to do is pick some different plays and playwrights to try out their works to see, is this someone I want to read more of? So I'm halfway through Miss Julie. I'm going to say I'm not loving it. I can't get a super sense of the tone, and it's a small cast, and the dynamics between the characters I can't quite sort out, and I don't know if that's because it can be interpreted in multiple ways, which often is the case with a play, but usually there is also, you know, a point of view or perspective, something that they're saying. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but so far I'm not kind of loving the gender dynamics. But I don't know. Anyway, I think there is a version of this with Jessica Chastain that's on like Canopy or Hoopla or something. So hopefully I can finish this and then watch that and then get a stronger sense of what's going on and respond to, or what my own response is to it. And because right now it's sort of like a little lukewarm. Like, I think it's well written, it's just not the themes that I enjoy exploring. But I'm curious to see an adaptation. So so let me know if you have another Strindberg play to recommend. I don't know if this is the big or one of the bigs, but I hope to read a couple of different playwrights throughout the year and sort of pick the next one. So yeah, but it was, like, in terms of the story and stuff, it was understandable, but in terms of the themes and what it's trying to say, I haven't quite landed, but it hasn't finished yet. I don't know how I haven't finished reading it yet. So anyway, so I started that. I should finish it by the end of the week. I only have like 30 pages left. I don't know, it might carry forward, who knows. Anyway, I also started The Greatest of Marleys by Linda Barry. This is a comics collection. Linda Barry is one of the authors that I'm working through their entire list or bibliography. Is that the right word for collected works? I don't feel like it is. No, bibliography is something that you put in a book. Is it? Like filmography, a person's filmography? I feel like I should know, but I don't. So I'm going to just move forward. But anyway, so I've only just started this. It's actually a bit of a slower read because it's 4-panel comics and there's lots of text. And Marley's is such a character. And there's lots of sad stories in this one. And a lot of them I think I have read before, either when they were published or in some of the other collections that I've read. This might be the last collection of comics that I need to read for reading all of her works. There's a fair amount that's just not available, and there's a fair amount that's within other collections, and I don't know how I'm going to approach that. But in terms of, I finally finished my reading goals spreadsheet, and I was like, okay, out of all of the ambitious goals I have, I'm like, this is one I think I can finish pretty quickly. So it might take me a little longer than I expected, but I am enjoying it, and Marley's is such a character, so I'm looking forward to continuing to read that one. One of my carryovers is Madly Deeply by the Alan Rickman Diaries. So this is one I've talked about before. I don't know why that keeps happening. And my library hold will expire. My library loan will expire this week. So I'm currently in 1994, and I'm hoping to finish 1994 before it expires. And the book runs from 93 to 96. And I'm contemplating whether or not to, when it goes back, like I can either put it on hold again, or I can opt for maybe waiting till the trade paper comes back, which I think is in October, and buying that, and between now and then try and watch more of his films that I haven't seen yet, and maybe even rewatch the ones that I have seen. I have seen a fair amount that he's in. I know that some of my favorite, like Die Hard, I mean, goes like almost without saying, you know, and then which I still can't believe is like his first or one of his first film credits. Like, wow. But I think he was there was a mention in this section about the Royal Shakespeare Company, so I don't know if he was in it or was for a bit, or someone made a comment that made it sound like things didn't work out. So I don't know what that was about. But it was just because this is Diaries, you just get these moments. You don't get the background. You know, this even starts after Die Hard, and also after Truly Madly Deeply, which is one film that I actually haven't seen of his. But one of my favorite performances of his is actually Galaxy Quest, because he plays an actor, and it just, like, there's so many moments in that movie that I love it anyway, but what he brings to it is just so good. So anyway, I don't know. Let me know. Have you seen a lot of his works? Like, I know there is the HP series. Of course, you know, I've seen all of that, and I haven't rewatched the whole thing start to finish. It does feel complicated given the problematic nature of the author of the book series, but I still really love the movies, and that there is some conflict there. But I know part of this and what a lot of people talk about with this one is about that. So I'm like, would it be worth, you know, like, again, it won't be a chore to watch those films, but I do feel complicated about it now. So anyway, I'm not sure what to do, but it could be a film project for the year as well. I always pick a couple of actors that I try and watch a fair amount of their works throughout the year. So maybe Alan Rickman just is going to be one of the people for this year. I don't know. Do you ever do that? Do you feel... do you pick an actor and follow their works, or do you have a couple actors you just always watch what they're in? I would love to know. If you have some actors that are like must-watch actors, including actresses, actors, and gender neutral word. But yeah, any I would love to hear who are your must-watch actors. So anyway, that's one of my carryovers. I'm also carrying over The Last Fallen Moon by Gracie Kim. This is the second book in the Gifted Clan series. I'm almost done. I only have 80 pages left, and I need to finish by Tuesday, which is when the live show is. I hope to finish actually probably by Saturday, but like end of day Saturday, early Sunday, before my next reading plan. because I'm supposed to, this is my one to finish this week. And I think I will be able to do that, but I'll definitely finish before the live show on Tuesday. This is middle grade urban fantasy. I'm absolutely loving it. There's a couple things I'm kind of like, but only a couple, and I'm looking forward to seeing how both Izzy and Kate Kelly are enjoying the book. Hi, Kate Kelly. I just love this world so much, and I was really happy to reread the first one earlier this year or late last year, and the third book comes out this year, and I believe it's only it's going to be a trilogy. Sometimes with fantasy and urban fantasy, they go longer, but I follow the author on Instagram, and it feels pretty certain that the next one is going to be the finale, so that would be great. Finish a series and this year, yay, and also just get to enjoy it. I mean, it's just going to be, so I'm just really enjoying it. I have a couple of things that I wrote, can't believe I haven't finished, and that would be The People of the Black Circle by Robert E. Howard. This is the 12th Conan story in the chronology that I'm reading it in. I don't know if I've mentioned this one before. Is that... Yeah, that kind of looks like some of the stuff going on. Some of the pictures for the stories, because I'm marking them individually on Goodreads, some of them feel like they have nothing to do with the story. This one is a longer one. It's 120 pages. Most of the ones I've read so far are closer to 50. So this is one I started quite a while ago, like earlier this year, and I'm just reading a little bit at a time. So hopefully, not by the end of this month. That was the first time I actually have Conan the series listed as well as a Conan story, and man, I don't want to do that again, but on my spreadsheet. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I will finish it soon. I also can't believe I haven't finished Flirting with Ruin by Marguerite Kay, which is a great historical romance novella that I'm really enjoying. I only have 40 pages left. I don't know why. Why have I not finished it? I mean, seriously. So it's just been a week of not as much reading, and I guess I've been doing a fair amount of data gathering and analysis, and so that has been on my mind. I actually have been doing that, not just for this year and setting up my spreadsheet and stuff, but I've also been working on, I want to get a list, I don't know if I mentioned this in a video before, but I want a list of all of the series that I have either started, finished, or am somewhere in the middle. And I think only two of those need to be true. I was inspired by Amy from Zoe Beck when she did her wrap-up, I think for her wrap-up for last year for series, wrote out like all of the series that she started and all of the series that she has the first book in. And I love looking at information and different ways to look at information. And so I'm always curious as what she's going to come up to with her goals in her reading journal. And I love that she shares it with us. Thinking about, that made me think about, I actually don't have a list of all of the series I've started, including all of the series I've finished. I think I get so focused on the things I've started but haven't finished, or the things that I could finish, or the things that have more left to go. And sometimes I completely forget about something I finished. So by the end of this year, I do want to have a list of all of the series that I finished, as well as all of the series that I'm in the middle of. And I've been working through that, and I got up to doing the entry from Goodreads up until the end of 2019, which was actually a fair amount. I got a fair chunk done this week. And but I gotta say, I got a little, I don't know if discouraged or just like, or not overwhelmed, but like, I think there was a fair amount of series in 2018 or 19, I can't remember which, that I started and got caught up with and then just left. And then now more has come out. And so I'm like, oh, like one easy example is Saga, volume 10, I think finally came out, or volume 9. And I'm like, wow, it has been so long since I read Saga, the comics. And I'm like, I barely remember. And I'm like, am I going to read all of it again? And then there's a couple of manga series as well, like Ajin Demi-Human. I thought I had finished it, but I actually had caught up with it, and it has at least 4 more volumes. I got up to 12, and now actually, the series is complete with 17. It was a pretty intense comic. It's sort of horror, thriller, paranormal, Ajin Demi-Human, so there's a paranormal element to it. But I'm like, wow, I can't quite remember the story, and I'm like, am I going to reread the whole thing? I don't have to. I can just leave it where it is. I don't have to do anything. But it's got me thinking about, not only do I want to continue and catch up with, or just read the new ones, or start at the beginning, or maybe read like the last one I read again, like for as in like read volume 12 again and be like, okay, do I know enough where the story's going that I can now go to something new? I'm not sure. It also makes me think, should I only read series that are completed so I don't go through this again in another 3 to 4 years? Like, now this is 3.5, 4 years ago. Like, Saga, I remember where I was when I was reading it and what I was doing, and like I think I was reading, I got inspired to read it for the Booktube SFF Awards, which I haven't seen anything from them in a couple of years, and which is too bad, because I really loved reading the titles and seeing what people were interested in year to year. I wasn't super engaged with the community, but I did always love and look forward to the list, but there just hasn't been anything. I don't know. So I'm doing that sort of like beginning of the year, making decisions about things and looking back at some other stuff. And now I'm just kind of like, like I feel like I should feel inspired. Like, yay, I can like read that new volume that came out. There's some series that I've been okay with reading like one at a time, like Monstrous. I got caught up with Monstrous, and then I get, maybe because the world is so intense and it feels very unique in terms of some of the character dynamics and the settings and stuff like that. I don't get it confused with anything else. And I do feel like they tell the backstory a little bit. I think they help you out a little bit, but not too much. So that's one that I've been fine just always reading the next one. But Saga, like, I gotta tell you, I remember liking certain things and then being like, oh, I'm not happy this happened. But, but now I'm like, characters and their alliances and what's happened, not a clue. It's been 3 years. 3 years. I'm like, I've read so many books between now and then, like comic books and manga especially. I've read so many, and I'm like, I don't know. So let me know your approach. Do you stick with stuff that, I guess for me, one of the challenges I have is staying up to date because I'm in the middle of so many series. But do you prefer to read series that are complete? I can definitely see a draw to that. I have a lot of first books in series on my TBR, so that doesn't help me there. Or maybe it does. I just don't read those right now. But like, I think there is wisdom in waiting till everything's complete and then you can read it all at once. But I also find myself drawn to being excited about something new, especially if there's like something intrinsic that I really like about it. Like, I remember reading Once and Future, the comics, as comics, like those single issue comics when they came out, and it's an Arthurian urban fantasy, and I'm like, this ticks all the boxes. I absolutely loved it. And now I haven't read it for years. Again, I don't remember what happened. I remember enjoying it. I don't remember what happened. Now, thankfully for lots of these, I read them through the library or through Hoopla, so I can just go back and re-request them or reread them, and it's no big deal that way. But it is time. So I'm just like, or maybe I should take better notes. I don't know. Or any notes. I have not been very good. Since I've started reading shorter works, I have been very not good at keeping notes on the single titles that I read. I used to do that with everything, but now I read so much more. I don't know. I'm obviously feeling a bit flustered, but I am curious about, I guess, so those are my questions of the day, is do you wait for a series to be finished before you start reading it, or do you have a good approach for staying on top of things like notes or, rereading the previous volumes or other things? And also, do you pick an actor or actress, although it is a gender neutral word, to watch all of their works or have as a must watch? I definitely have lots of actors that I always want to see what their work is. I always am excited about it, but I have been, because my level of film watching has been varied greatly over the past 10 years. I don't think I'm at 100% for anyone other than Iko Uwais, who I did last year finish watching his filmography. So anything he does, I'm gonna watch so that I can keep that at 100%. Also, I just really enjoy the works that he's in, and the action in the works that he does. It's just extraordinary. So anyway, should I resist starting new things? I won't. That's not even really a question. That's not even a rhetorical question. But should I maybe try, like, would I I don't know, would I be happier if I only read things that are finished? I can just tell by how I'm saying it that that's not true, but I still find this, or should I just let go of series that I didn't think of off the top of my head? Just be like, I didn't remember that. Or if I notice there's a new one out, I can just read it. I can just be more flexible, more in the moment. Oh gosh, that's just not my way. It's not my way. I like the data and charts and reminders and all of those things. That's much more my way. You can just see from my face, and that's way more likely the way I would go. And I love that everyone's different and has their own way. For me, I absolutely really love that, and I love hearing what works for people. So yeah, do you have a good way to keep up to date with series? That might be the better question. Yeah, obviously I'm not doing great, although, this just came out last year, and I imagine we will read the 3rd book. So that'll be one series done this year. And Usagi Yojimbo could be, and the Decagon House Murders. So all of these are potential finishes. Potential finish. Anything is a potential finish. Is finishing the only important thing? Oh, there's so many questions. Anyway, I am going to leave it there. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend ahead. I do plan to have a video out on Sunday announcing something that I'm really excited about, and quite a landmark. I don't know if I mentioned that already in the video, but yeah, quite a moment. So I have to do more information on pulling that together. So wish me luck. I've been really in the information stuff this week. I didn't even realize how much I had been, but that's really where my brain has been at. So still feels like the beginning of the year to me, even though it's February, and that's just the truth of it. All right, but I am going to wrap this up, and I hope that you have a lovely weekend ahead full of lots of good reading or any of the things that you enjoy doing. All right, thanks so much for watching. Bye.